even when I'm down. Got my head in the clouds and my feet on the ground. I got big dreams, gonna make them true.
And welcome to the Genius Lab for our podcast number 32. Talking about training, and you'll find the information that I'm talking about today in my book, Release Your Shit and Reclaim Your Power, and that's available at tobychristensen.com and also on Amazon. So check it out, get the book, do the work, and get ready for action. In the previous episodes, we've talked about getting your buttons pushed, and becoming aware of those buttons, and then how does your body react when you get triggered, and then what can you do about it, and so on and so forth. And today we're going to talk about how you can literally train yourself not to get affected. Okay? Now, this doesn't mean that you don't get your shit stirred up every once in a while, but what it means is that it does not have dominance over you. In other words, you can literally train and prepare to avoid, or to resist the possibility of losing your shit and being an idiot and escalating a situation from potentially harmless to being catastrophic. You can save friendships, business relationships, so on and so forth by being aware of what's going on. And so there's a couple of big steps to training, okay? The first one is building awareness. Okay, you really want to pay attention to what are your triggers, what are the buttons that get pushed, and then what are your reactions to the buttons getting pushed. I talked about earlier, and I talk about it in my book. Is quit tripping, man. You're just tripping. So we call that, when you get your buttons pushed, we call it going on a trip, and because usually it is an emotionally based reaction. Okay, not a response. It's literally a reaction to a particular stimuli. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, you get right up on their ass and you start screaming and yelling at them and honking your horn. You're not thinking like, God, I look like a stupid idiot because there's no big deal. Nothing happened and there's no particular reason for me to get mad. So clearly your buttons are being pushed about something else. And maybe it's about, your inability to control or feeling helpless, or when you were a kid, your big brother beat you up all the time, or you were bullied. And so anytime somebody does something that you can't do something about, you get triggered. Okay. And then you go on this trip of, I'm helpless, I'm defenseless, and everybody else is always wrong, but they always get away with it and I don't. Or a million other trips, but that's just an example. But when you become aware of your triggers, and you can literally know when they're going to get pushed, or what the possibility is in terms of when they're most likely to sneak up. Okay. When I go down to Miami, I know that my lack of money button is going to get pushed a lot, because down on South Beach, you see Lamborghinis and Maseratis and Bugattis and all kinds of crazy shit all day long. Right. And there's like more freaking money than you can possibly imagine down there. And these people just spend it like it's water. And then I'm like, fuck, how come I work so hard and I try so hard and I don't get that kind of success, kind of financial success anyway. And of course, you go through all the logic of, you don't know what their life's like and blah, 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 blah. But the bottom line is they got some pretty fucking cool cars and I would like to have one. So when they pull up or they go to a restaurant and they just order whatever they want, they never have to look at the prices, or they go to the restaurants where there's no prices on the menu because it doesn't matter. Okay. All that shit just pushes my buttons like crazy. So when I'm going down there, I realize that is going to be more likely than when I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay. And so I can prepare myself and go, okay, guess what? I'm going to get to see some really cool cars, and I'm going to get to hang out in some really neat places. And then I don't have to measure myself against these people or demean myself because I don't have a material item that's something of theirs. I go in prepared for the trip, and then the trip never comes. So it's nice. So you can train to minimize the effect of your buttons. So be aware of what they are. Be aware of what trip you go on. Do you go on a I'm less than? Do you go on a I'm not good enough? Do you go on the I'm intrinsically flawed and will never be okay? Or do you go on the, what's the third mala that I talked about before? Yes, overwhelm. I'm just completely overwhelmed. And in order to do all that I would have to do to have what I want and to counteract this trip, it's absolutely impossible for me to ever get it done. So I might as well just forget it. I'm a loser. So, and then so become aware of your triggers, become aware of the trips you go on, and then bring awareness to helpful helpful ways to get you out of the ditch should you fall in. Let's just say some dude pulls up in a nice new Bugatti and I go, oh my God, I'm a fucking loser because I don't have a cool $2 million car. And who set that fucking rule up, right? I did in my head. So how am I going to turn out of that so that I don't stay in the ditch all day long thinking I'm a complete loser and everything that I look at is just reminds me of how not okay I am. And it could be simple as gratitude, being grateful for what I have and have a gratitude list. I literally, sometimes I get so fucked up by some of this stuff. I literally carry around my core values and my mission and what am I looking? Some goals. Basically, and affirmations, I carry them on 3x5 cards. So sometimes I can pull them out and actually read these cards. And it's the best way for me to turn around once I get triggered. Gratitude is probably the best way for me to pull out, because when I start getting grateful for stuff, I remember one guy had a big red Ferrari, and oh man, it was beautiful. I don't know what model it was. I had never seen it before, but it was fucking gorgeous, right? And he gets out and he's got this huge belly. He looks like he's like 9 months pregnant. And I'm like, oh my God, I certainly would not want to trade places with him if I had to trade everything. I just want the bank account and the car. I don't want to have the lifestyle and whatever else goes with it. So when I get grateful for what I have and who I am and what I've achieved in areas that maybe are not financial, then I have a tendency to turn around, to get out of the ditch, get back up on my feet, and move in a positive direction. So if you know what gets you, and you know how to plan so that it happens less, or ideally not at all, you're miles ahead. One of the stories I tell in my book is when I used to go to this fundraiser at a very fancy hotel. And so if I'm heading to a fundraiser at the Four Seasons, I know ahead of time that I'm going to get triggered because we're at a 5-star hotel. Everybody's going to be showing off their best. We're at a fundraiser, so everybody's going to be showing how much money they have by either making donations or how they show up, because everybody wants to be the shit and when you're doing a fundraiser, the people who are the shit are the people who have the most funds to donate, right? So I'm always, people are driving up in their Bentleys or their Rolls Royces or their, unique Porsches or, whatever. Everybody comes up, they're all waxed and beautiful and awesome. And then, they got their designer suits on and their platinum Rolex and, on and on and on. So I used to just lose my shit and just come home from things just pissed off and, fuck, I'll never amount to anything. I'm nothing, blah, blah, blah. I should just be mopping these guys' floors. I mean, I would come up with so much stupid stuff. It's not even funny. But then what I started to do when I got into the fundraising industry, I'm part of a 501c3, now I'm looking at guys that have Bugattis and Ferraris. I'm not seeing threats. I'm seeing donors. So it's funny. My entire perspective has changed. So now when I see somebody with a $50,000 watch and a $8,000 suit, I'm like, what do you think about kids at Children's Hospital? Oh my God, we support Children's. It's wonderful. Well, great. How would you like to sponsor a song? We have this organization called Hear the Hope, and we make kids' dreams come true through music, through songs of hope. Oh my God. I mean, it's been so cool. The people that I've gotten to meet, when my attitude changes, instead of getting triggered by, man, you have a bunch of money, I wish I did too. It's, you have a bunch of money, I have some really good things you can do with it. And oh my God, it completely changes. So when I come home from a fundraiser, instead of, oh man, I'm such a loser, blah, 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 because I couldn't donate all this money, I'm thinking, wow, this is so cool that I made these contacts so that we can get our fundraisers taken care of. And it just switches everything. So when you train, you do a couple of things. Number one, you minimize your reactivity, okay? Because your reactivity hurts you and it hurts them, okay? It makes whoever you're with or whoever you're around, it makes them feel shitty because you're shitty. And it makes you feel shitty because you constantly degrade yourself unnecessarily. And so just, there's an old saying, the grass always looks greener on the other side. And, it's not always. So the thing that you can do is start training. Bring awareness to what pushes your buttons. Be aware of your reactions to those buttons getting pushed, and create a strategy so that when they get pushed, you can turn it around and get out of the situation more quickly. Okay? And one way to do that, I got to tell you, it's my theme here, is keep looking up. Keep looking up, keep looking up, keep looking up. Get your mission clear in your mind and always be looking for the positive. When you do that, you will turn around so easy and those buttons will just disappear and your life will be much happier. So keep looking up.